And away we go. Alright, same old, same old. Uh, Me, Eric, and Risk have sent something in the group chat. Let's see what those things are that's been sent in the group chat, which is literally the name, the group chat. Anyway, that's just me. So, let's see what's been sent in our pipelines, getting a reaction out of us. Most of the time effective. Then again, it's going to be stuff that we don't agree with. So, not saying not saying it's great. It is a start to ensure that we're not encapsulated or trapped within our own biases. So, starting off with an Instagram reel by someone that is an expert on the creator economy. Uh, what is it about the creator economy that this guy is talking about? I will play the audio for you now.
When everyone can go viral, followers no longer matter. And when followers no longer matter, big accounts no longer make sense to pay for. Smart brands increasingly want to hire people with no followings to produce content for them. It's not only more affordable, but in today's day and age, a recommendation from a normal person carries far more weight than it does from a celebrity. And the payouts for a creator can be huge. Think like $1,500 for 10 videos and a 10% commission on all sales you generate. So if the video makes the brand $250,000, you'll pull in $25K. If you've ever attempted to make money online, then you need to attempt freelance content creation in 2026. The problem is most folks don't know how to start, where to find brands to partner with, how to negotiate rates, or how to make a video go viral that drives sales. I'm teaching all three of those in our free webinar on April 14th. Comment hits and I'll DM you the invite to sign up.
That is true. That is very true. You know, although this is completely unrelated, I have been thinking somehow, for some reason, and you know what? Even if it's scary, what difference does that make? Anyway, what I'm thinking about, which is unrelated to that video, if I were to record episodes like this in a public space where everyone could look at me and whisper to each other, what is he saying? What is he doing? Why would he say that? Yeah, that's what I was been thinking about. I'm not sure how, and I'm not sure why. Nonetheless, it is a very good point, a very valid point, in fact. Now, I'm not saying I will immediately start recording podcast episodes like this in public spaces where people could just look at me. I also have to think about safety as well, whether people will just jump at me, trying to get my attention, like, the kinds of people that troll and rage bait you. I also have to think about people trying to steal my crap. And how would the podcast episode continue going? But yeah, that's just me just thinking about a lot of stuff and perspectives. So, back to the video in question, the creator economy. I agree with what he's saying. Not just the fact that people tend to relate more, or those people that are more likely to engage with normal everyday people as opposed to what celebrities would say or promote. As years go by in the world of the internet, turns out that maybe, just maybe, celebrities is not the way to go. Yeah, that I don't think. Of course, if there are celebrities that made their fortunes or become well known for the right reasons, then maybe. Otherwise, people would ask, who is this person? What are they known for? And why should we give a damn about what these celebrities say? That's a good question. Not that I don't have an answer for it. Why would people pay attention to what celebrities are saying? Especially if celebrities today may not fully be aware or understand the struggles and the issues that a lot of people are going through right now. There are celebrities that have a lot of money to cover expenses, the rent for the properties, and even if there is a economic crisis coming about, these celebrities have just enough money to get by when everyone else is struggling in every aspect that anyone could think of. And as more people are gearing towards promotions of products by literally anyone, regardless of how big of a following they have, it's refreshing. It's not gonna fix all of the world's issues. It does at least give hope to some people, at least, that no matter where you are in life and whatever metrics or how big of a fan base you have, you can make it. Anyone can make it. This is only the beginning, though. It's going to take a few more years before, eventually, anyone and everyone, if they want to become famous, that is, to achieve the same success as their favorite celebrities. Now, next video, another one. Yeah. Wait, what am I doing? Yeah. Although I have listened to it, I'll let the audio do the talking.
Rice can grow mold quicker based on the music it listens to. What do you think it's doing to your brain? Set up an experiment where I played different songs to each jar of rice every day for the past 2 weeks. I chose Playboy Carti. I don't even listen to Playboy Carti. I actually had my friend recommend this. I listened to Playboy Carti, which I had thought that this was going to be the worst one in terms of mold. This is obviously the outcome. You can see there's quite a bit of mold. And then Michael Jackson's I Want You Back. I was a bit surprised that there was even mold in this one, but as you can see, there's not much at all. I chose this one as a joke. I literally chose Bazooka as a joke because it's just a meme song. Surprisingly, this has way more mold than Playboy Carti.
Huh. Interesting. Depending on what kind of music you listen to, now, although this is an experiment with rice, if mold can grow in rice based on the music that they have listened to, how much of a correlation would this have with our brains? Could it be that the music that we listen to determines the development, the capabilities, and the impact of our one's membrane? It is possible. It's not exact. It is still important nonetheless. And anyone listening to music these days, well, there's all kinds of music going around these days. And anyone listening to music that isn't my taste, that's okay. Music in general is very subjective these days. Not that there is not like there is a right or wrong to what music you should listen to. Everyone has their own tastes, like everyone has their own opinions on what goes on whatever subjects people are talking about. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, even if a lot of people disagree with them. The same can be said with music. And of course, without a doubt, when you listen to Michael Jackson, there's some kind of energy and aura that comes from that. Regardless of what opinions people have on Michael Jackson, and I'm not talking about the allegations that he's been through during his time in the 90s and the noughties, but also just whether or not you like the music he produces. Surely, Michael Jackson's music's on a whole nother level than all the other artists. I have no other words to say beyond that. And yeah, that is all of the videos that has been sent thus far in the group chat since the last time I recorded a podcast episode. With that all being said, let's get right into the news. Shut up, Meg. I don't know why I'm thinking of Family Guy. It's so goofy of me. Man pleads guilty in shooting death of rapper Young Dolph at a Memphis bakery. Cornelia Smith pleaded guilty to second-degree murder on Friday, closing the Young Dolph case and concluding criminal proceedings against all four defendants charged in the 2021 Memphis bakery killing. Young Dolph was shot on November 17th, 2021 at Makeda's homemade butter cookies on Airways Boulevard. 4 men were charged: Smith, Justin Johnson, Hernandez Corvan, and Jamarcus Johnson. Smith's testimony proved critical in securing a life sentence for Justin Johnson, while Hernandez Corvan was acquitted of plotting the murder. Jamarcus Johnson previously pleaded guilty to accessory charges. Smith received a 20-year sentence without parole or early release. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Milroy said the sentence properly reflects the gravity of the offense while recognizing Smith's cooperation. Prosecutors alleged the killing stemmed from rivalry between Dolph's Paper Route Empire and Yo Gotti's collective music group, with Anthony Mims Big Juke allegedly orchestrating the hit before his 2024 death. Firstly, rest in peace to young Dolph. I send my condolences to the friends and family of young Dolph. And in regards to the rivalry, in regards to, well, what is it? I know stuff has to do with music. How deep is that rivalry? I'm just curious. Of course, I know aware that the rivalry is deep enough for unaliving someone. There has to be more than just this story about young Dolph being killed. There has to be more history that has led up to that moment. Again, it's very unfortunate that someone lost their life because of a heated historical rivalry. And who knows how long that rivalry goes back towards. It's not good. It's very unfortunate. I don't know what else to add to that. It's very, very sad. And tragic. There's nothing else for me to say on this. Hopefully, the men that were responsible, hopefully, they get the punishment that fully reflects their actions. Whilst that might not mean much to a lot of people, to me, whatever these men have done to young Dolph, there should be an equivalent punishment inflicted onto those men that reflect the actions that they have inflicted towards young Dolph. That's my understanding and my perspective about, or at least my take on punishments for people who have done wrongdoings. Not even just that, it's just causing harm to someone in any aspect. UK media regulator says Twitter X promises to crack down on terrorist and hate content. On Friday, Elon Musk's social media platform Twitter X pledged to crack down on hate and terrorist content in Britain, committing to review suspected illegal material within 24 hours on average and assess at least 85% of reports within 48 hours. According to regulator OFCOM, recent anti-Semitic violence in Britain, including a double stabbing in Golders Green last month, and suspected arson targeting Jewish community sites, prompted the regulatory action after Ofcom's December compliance program found organizations had flagged multiple pieces of content to Twitter X with unclear follow-up. Twitter X will block UK access to accounts linked to prescribed terrorist groups and submit quarterly performance data to Ofcom over a 12-month period, while engaging experts to improve its reporting systems. Civil society groups responded cautiously. Danny Stone of the Anti-Semitism Policy Trust called the action a good start, but said Twitter X was failing in so many regards to tackle open racism, while Iman Atta of Tel Mama stressed the test was not what is promised, but what is delivered. The agreement reflects broader regulatory challenges facing Twitter X, as Grok's non-consensual deepfake scandal triggered European Union investigations, and French prosecutors pursued charges last week against Musk and Twitter X, including denial of crimes against humanity. No, not that I like Elon Musk or whatever's going on, whatever's going on Twitter X. Crimes against humanity. Really? Again, not that I like Musk or anything that's going on Twitter X. It's a stretch to call whatever Musk and or whatever Twitter X are doing right now or in the past crimes against humanity. Even if there is shockwaves and lots of people that are absolutely outraged by the deepfakes, which, you know what? Yeah, I don't. I'm on board. I'm with OFCOM in regards to the deepfakes that's been going on Twitter X in the past. That I don't agree with. Why would people ever make explicit photos and images like that? Even if that is the worst to come out of Twitter X, I feel like there has to be more cases just as worse as the explicit deepfakes going about on the platform of Twitter X before we ever consider Twitter X as a platform that are committing crimes against humanity. I'm talking plurals, crimes as in plural. There's only just one crime against humanity, which, in my opinion, is close to being such. Again, in my opinion. Now, what happens next with X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it? Well, as I'm recording this, I know that protests have been going on within London. There's one side, the United Kingdom protests, then there's other protests. Whilst there is an exact name for that side of protests in London, I know the stances for the other protests going against United Kingdom protests goes along the lines of fighting against racism, solidarity for Palestinians in Gaza, and I'm not sure if there's a third thing. Whatever that third thing is, it's in line with the first two. Yeah, that's at least my understanding of the protests within London that's happening as far as I am recording this. And I'm wondering, last time I checked, in regards to whether it's legal or not to protest on anything, even if there is a law that clearly states that you're not supposed to protest on or against anything that is going about in the mediascape. If that was the case, if there is a law like that that's in place and it is clear that you're not supposed to protest anywhere, how is it that the Metropolitan Police of Greater London are even allowing such protests like United Kingdom and solidarity for Palestine and fighting against racism-related protests are still yet to continue? I'm just saying, I don't believe it should be illegal to protest. If people want to speak out against something or for something, they should do that. I don't see why people shouldn't protest. If they want to protest, do it. Absolutely do it. So, and even if Metropolitan Police are allowing such protests to still take place in London, and I know this is a very stupid question, just saying it out loud and not considering anything else, why would there be that many police officers stationed at multiple high-end, very busy streets, all within Greater London, to control how particular protest crowds move across the city? I'm not talking about one protest group, I'm talking at least the two that people know of that are in intense rivalry against each other. because of opposing views. If there was any other protests outside of whatever the United Kingdom are protesting, and outside of protest in relates to solidarity for Palestinians and protests relating to fighting against racism or any kind of discrimination, what kind of facilitation and security would other such protests be provided if there is a clear guideline, the times, the dates, the exact locations which the protest takes place? Would any other protest ever get the same amount of security, precautionary measures, and pathways as whatever protests are going on in London right now as I'm recording this? Probably not, because if these other protests are as big as the protests that are going on in London, that would ever need such police observation, police would only ever be at such protests if there was a reason to have some kind of supervision among and towards said protest groups. In case there was a fight that broke out within the group, or if the two rivaling protest groups were to clash with each other and then they just scrap with each other, which that should not happen to begin with. If you want to protest for or against something, you need to set a great example amongst your peers that are in the same protest as you are. So yeah, it's important. Important indeed. Quebec reimbursing farmers for fuel tax says measure will help competitiveness. Okay. On Friday, Quebec Premier Christine Fanchet announced the government will reimburse more than 15,000 farmers, 87 million Canadian dollars, for carbon market fuel taxes, with reimbursements beginning in July. This decision responds to years of complaints from the union, the producteurs, from the Union des or UPA, which argued farmers contributed more to climate change initiatives than they receive in support. Quebec's cap and trade system, which is linked to California, involves companies bidding every 3 months for emission units that become more expensive as the emissions cap decreases over time. UPA President Monty Caron called the commitment a major win for the competitiveness and scalability of our businesses, while urging further reductions in administrative and regulatory burdens. Fanchet stated the funding helps farmers compete with jurisdictions lacking high environmental standards, while remaining convinced the agricultural sector will continue reducing its carbon footprint. In regards to providing supporters for the farmers, fantastic. Now, not going to say that there's more that could be done to support farmers in any way. Anything to help the farmers with whatever crisis that is going on is good enough. A win is a win. Take it while it's still there. And the thing is, while people say, why is it important to have farmers and farmland? Well, not saying that the answer is obvious. The answer to the question, why are farmers important? It's not about just the history of farmers in general, which spans hundreds of decades. The fact farming as an industry goes a lot further back than recorded history that we can early recall. I'm talking as early back as the first, somewhere in the first century AD or BC. It's actually a lot further than BC, the first century. Farming has existed for many years, not just decades, not just many decades, not just many years, and not even just many centuries. This goes back many millenniums. And ever since then, it has helped out with not just providing food to the people in local communities that need food to get their energy levels up to continue with the day and the week. At some point, farms had evolved to provide homes for farm animals like the cows, the chickens, the sheep, the pigs, and those animals also produced produce that we also would consume, like eggs from the chicken, the milks from the cows and the goats, somehow, and of course other produce that we don't eat but wear instead, like wool from the sheeps. I could go on, however, those are just the things that comes instantly to my head. What's important is that whilst more people are starting to live in urban areas, in major cities, that does not mean that the farming sector isn't going to phase out at any point, anytime soon. Farming will continue to be very important for our way of life. The question is, what does farming look like in the next few years? Maybe it's not just thousands of meters or hectares of land that some farmer suddenly has. Maybe farming can evolve to maybe indoors, maybe in shipping containers, aquaponics I've heard so much about, maybe growing food with minimal soil, using fishes underneath also. I'm not sure if that was aquaponics or something else. I know farming as a whole is gearing more towards such kind of methods of creating new food, producing food that we would consume. So yeah, that's just my perspective on farming as a whole. And in regards to Quebec reimbursing the farmers for fuel tax, it's a good start, I would say, like one person just said. Or was it a different story? Yeah, I think someone said in a different story that something was a good start. I would say the same for the reimbursement of farmers. And I hope that does continue, even if it's not needed right now. You never know if farmers, at least one of them in Quebec, could use the support to help with their life's work. And that is it for the episode.